This is a spot I've come to many times before, but this is the thing, when you find a good spot, you can come back multiple times and still get beautiful shots if you just point your camera in a different direction. So normally I come here and I photograph the dam that's just behind us right now, or behind the camera, but a number of times I've flown my drone out over here, and there's this beautiful little valley through here, I'll show you, which has some nice sort of ridges on it. If I zoom in there and show you, you can see there's some nice ridges there. And the sun's going to be setting over here. And I'm hoping that after it breaks through the clouds there, that it's going to light up this section through here. So that's what I'm aiming for. So we'll see how we go. I'm actually thinking that for one of the first times, I might actually drop the 100 to 400 in favour of the 24 to 105. I mean, one thing that is great about the 100 to 400 is how you can crop in on different elements of the scene, which is what I really love about it. But I think this time I'm inclined to actually go a little wide, and I can't get wide enough with this, so I'm going to swap this out for the 24 to 105. We'll give that a go. Yeah, I'm not so sure about this scene, but you never know. If that sun comes through, it could be quite beautiful. We'll just have to wait and see. Right now it is super flat, super boring, but we shall see what the light's going to do. So what do you think of the new hat? My favourite little mountain logo on the front and on the back. Yeah. So a big part of landscape photography is really just waiting. And in many other things in life, waiting can be frustrating. And when I was younger and loved my landscape photography, waiting was sometimes frustrating too, because all I wanted to do was build up a body of work. I just wanted to get awesome photos. But now that I'm older and my reasons for shooting have changed, now it's actually all about waiting and just slowing down and just enjoying standing here. I just wish there wasn't traffic coming down this dirt road here, because it's kind of ruining the silence. But this is a beautiful spot. It just looks very dull right now. But I always take the approach that, you know, it doesn't really matter whether you get a shot or not. Yes, getting a nice photo is nice, but, you know, a nice photo doesn't change your life. But an accumulation of moments where you get to just slow down and just enjoy your time and, you know, just stand peacefully, that's definitely worth something. You know, I was driving back from a client shoot yesterday. It was actually a video shoot, an interview. And I had about an hour and a half to kill, so I actually turned on the camera and had a bit of a chat with you on the way home, but then I wasn't real happy with the footage. I might still use some of it. But I was just talking about why I make the time to take photos. You know, I don't have an abundance of spare time, far from it. I have a very, very busy schedule. I have a number of clients. And, you know, I have to make the time. I have to literally schedule or prioritise time to go out and take photos. And the reason I do it is because, as somebody who's worked in corporate for about a quarter of a century, I find that it is one of the best stress relievers. And I've talked about this before in other videos, but, you know, ultimately that's the reason why I make the time to do it. It's not because I'm trying to build a business out of selling photos, because I'm not. I have photos for sale on my website, but I don't care if I never sell any. I really don't. I put them there in case somebody wants them, but it's not the reason I do photography. It's the reason I used to do it when I was shooting pro, but not these days. Now, the reason I do it is because it's so easy when you spend your life in front of a computer, like I do and like so many millions do. It's easy to think, I'll just get one more thing done, just one more thing, just one more thing. And you end up spending your whole life just staring at a computer screen, you know, doing Excel spreadsheets, doing web design, you know, whatever it is that you do. And you lose touch with where we spent the bulk of our lives for 400,000 years, and that's out here, outside. And it's not good for us to spend too much time indoors. And so I do it because I find that this is one of the best ways to get myself outside. If I just go outside because I know I should, I just put it off, you know. I figure there's, I could finish this other project, I should do this other thing, I'll just answer these emails. But if I, and this is also part of the reason why I started the YouTube channel, it's sort of twofold. One is to force me to get outside, to shoot these videos and to take photos, and also to share with you why I think this is so valuable. Because just being outside like this, just standing here, looking at the clouds slowly moving across, and you know, waiting for the light, it really is one of the best stress relievers. I've got one of those little tiny Insta360 Go 2 cameras. They're such a cute little thing. You just put them anywhere. Like, this is what I'm looking at. It's almost like holding up your thumb to shoot a video. It's like you got a camera inside your thumb. It's so tiny. So I don't know how good this looks while I'm doing this, but if it's in the video, then I guess it looks good enough to use it. Incidentally, that little dam I was telling you about is this one just here, which I've photographed many times, including with the drone. In fact, some of my favourite drone shots are with that. Oh, I've got to tell you about the drone too. I actually crashed it the other day quite badly. I tried for the first time to do active track, and I'll turn you off now. And I wanted to do it tracking my vehicle while I was driving. And I think I actually put it on spotlight instead of active track, which means it locks onto the vehicle, which it did. It had the square around it, had the vehicle symbol, but then it actually flies an arc around it like that. And I think that must be what I did. And it flew around and it went bang straight into a tree and ripped off the camera, or ripped off the gimbal. And so fortunately I had the foresight to get the Care Refresh option with the Mavic Air 2. And so after a bit of stuffing around with paperwork and forms and stuff, I sent it off. And that was, I guess it was about a week ago. And I just got notified today that they've shipped me a brand new one, which is fantastic. The only bummer is that it's a brand new Mavic Air 2 and not the Mavic Air 2S, which I would dearly love to have instead. So I suspect what I'm going to do is, as soon as I get this, my new Mavic Air 2 back, well, the new one, I'm going to probably sell it straight away and then get the Air 2S. In fact, I've got it in my diary tonight to remind me to jump online when it launches, which is 9 AM Eastern Daylight Time on the 15th of April, which in Australia is about 11 PM tonight. So, all right, this light is starting to do something, but how does it look through the camera? Yeah, it's not hitting the hills. See, the sky is interesting. This is always the challenge with shooting sunsets is, you know, if you have a body of water, then that's great. Because the sunset alone, the cloud formations and the way the sun lights up the clouds can make for an epic photo if you have something to reflect it in the foreground or something to silhouette it against. But what I actually want is the light from the sunset. I don't actually want the shot. I'm not interested in the shot of the sky per se. I want what the light is going to do when it goes low and hits these, you know, little ridges over here. So that's what I'm waiting for. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'll go back into the car and drink my warm Red Bull and drive home and hang out with my wife and my son. All good. But anyway, we wait. Still not getting any light on my scene, really. Some nice cloud formations and some nice light coming through the clouds, but it's not lighting up my foreground, which is what I was hoping for. Often you can surprise yourself with a nice composition. If you just tilt your camera up and down, just move it around and try different compositions. You know, fill up 2/3 of the scene with your foreground, and then try filling up 2/3 of the scene with your sky. Move it across so that your subject is in the center, then maybe try moving it across so that it's to one side. There's all sorts of different things you can try. And don't forget, if you're shooting sky in your image, to either bracket your shots and then blend them in Photoshop or Lightroom, or at the very least expose for the bright area. I might actually put a wider lens on and get a shot of the sky. Why the hell not? So that means slapping on the trusty 16 to 35. Landscape photographer's best friend. Put you back to bed, mister. It's a very dramatic sky, no doubt about it. Certainly a dramatic sky. So, again, bring my focus selected down to the mid-ground, take one shot for the sky, and one for the foreground. Have another look around. I might actually just get over here, get some of this foreground orange gravel. Sorry about that. I'm over here now. How's our exposure looking? Ooh. Not a bad looking sunset, is it? Hey? Not bad. Now I know I could drop a graduated ND filter on this shot here, and it would help to balance out the foreground and the background, but I tend to be a bit lazy with those because it's kind of a bit of faffing about. You know, I never seem to have the right adapter ring on the right lens when I want to use it, and in fact I don't have an adapter ring on this at all, I don't think. Oh yes, I do on this one. I just so happen to have it on this one. But I'd almost rather, you know, take a couple of exposures and blend them in Photoshop, or, you know, expose for the highlights and then bring out the shadow detail in the foreground. Or drop a graduated ND filter down there in Photoshop or Lightroom. I kind of prefer to do that. I know it's not perfect, I know it's not ideal. I mean, it makes sense to me to do it if you're in a scene where the light is stable. Like say you're photographing on a bright, overcast day, and you really want to knock back the clouds, the exposure on the clouds, and you've got time because the light's not changing. Well then, yeah, fair enough. Drop a graduated ND filter in there. But, you know, in situations like this, the exposure's changing constantly, and the opportunity to get a shot is, you know, vanishing rapidly. So I'd rather just shoot it, do a couple of exposures, then that gives me options later. Anyway, that's probably enough talking from me. I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight. Anyway, I hope you like the photos. Thanks for hanging out with me again. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. Easy to forget. I often forget myself. And if you haven't subscribed, well then, be nice to have you along. And I will see you in the next video. See ya.